Hey guys, Fiddle Parrot here, and welcome to a little manga, first 4 volume impression of My Dress Up Darling. So you guys may have heard me talk about this if you've seen it in my more recent manga hauls, but I will just spoil it right now. I again loved these books. I thought they were fantastic. And rather unexpectedly, I'd seen them around some, and I thought the art style looked great, but I just wasn't really sure what they were about. And so I was like, I don't know. But I got the first 2 volumes, immediately ordered the other 2. I was like, I have to have that now. So first, an overview of the story. The story, for the most part, really revolves around our 2 main characters, Wakana Gojo and Marin Kitagawa. Now, I think one of the things that can be really relatable to a lot of people, especially in the anime and manga community, right off the bat about this story, is Wakana and Kitagawa's also, their background and their story. So the book pretty much starts off with Wakana just being called odd and rejected by his friends, or when he was younger, because he's really into Hina dolls, or making Hina dolls is more of what I should say. And that is traditionally a weird thing for a boy or a man to really have an interest in. But Wakana's uncle or his grandfather, I can't remember which, does it for a living, and he makes just amazing detailed Hina dolls. And he looks like kind of Wakana wants to just follow in his footsteps. But, it's weird. It's an odd thing to do for a guy. And so it's one of the things where you don't really want to talk about people. And I think so that's kind of where that a lot of people in that anime and manga community, at least at first, until you find people who are also like-minded, it can be kind of hard. And that's really what happens in these books, because our 2 main characters are first-year high school students, which... They look so much older. I got really excited when I first started reading the first book, because I was like, oh my god, they're college students, which would have been a bit of a nice, refreshing change. But no, they're college students, whatever. But they are very much just drawn and look more mature than that, so your pretty much mind just kind of goes there anyway. I read these books and don't think of them as, first-year high school students. I never could. But you just kind of almost make your own headspace canon. That's how mine works anyway, but we're getting off track. So as you might have guessed, Wakana Gojo he's a bit of an outlier in school. He's quiet, he's reserved, he doesn't really talk to anybody. Kind of like a big, goofy guy, almost kind of deal. Almost My Love Story vibes, but not that big and not that goofy. Just toned down a little bit. Or maybe even a lot. But, Kitagawa is looked at as this really popular, a lot of people know her, she's this beautiful girl, but one day they meet up, well they don't meet up, but they find themselves both in this arts and class club room, and Marin finds him, with some of his Hina doll stuff, making some Hina doll clothes. And this is where you finally get Marin's real character, which is fantastic. She's loud, she's funny, she's kind of bombastic. She's really over the top, gal, cutesy kind of deal. And so she's just a really fun character whenever she's on the page. And she just goes right up to him and was like, oh my god, I want you to make a cosplay for me, because that is her thing. She loves cosplay. She's always wanted to do it, but she knows nothing about dressmaking. And even though obviously Gojo has never made anything on that scale, he ends up just agreeing and saying, yes, I will help you make this cosplay. And then this is where another wrinkle to the story comes in, because the story has several of them. Stories like this, that high school setting, they need wrinkles. First wrinkle is that, hey, it's a book about cosplay for the most part. And so that's, a lot of manga you will find will just go off on really different and unique topics. And this is a story that I never thought I'd be interested in a book about cosplay. But throughout the whole book, I think it's fascinating. I think there's a lot of really, really cool things I never knew about cosplay that you get to. But that's also down the road. The thing about the cosplay she wants is it's from this Arrow hentai game that is just massively over, she's some boobalicious slave girl, so he has to play the game and learn the character. And that's one of those things where you'll need to know going into these books, if you have no interest in books that have that ecchi lewd content in it, then like if you that's like a total no-go for you, then you'll have to say no to these books, because the art style in these books is absolutely fantastic, but there are a lot of boobs and a lot of ass shots. They are so glorious, so well done. They just look like soft, pillowy, just marshmallows. I don't know how you make a drawing look that soft, but whatever. We're getting a little out of hand here. But there definitely is a lot of that element between the two characters. And usually it's also in like a really comedic fashion as well. So there's that ecchi, like hentai kind of comedy in there a lot. And I wouldn't say it like overrides the whole story. Like you'll go through plenty of stretches where it's definitely not the main focus, but it is prevalent. And then the next thing you get as you get more into like volume 2 here, and as the characters learn more about each other, you learn a lot about their insecurities and their worries. And that's where the emotional beats also, I think, just are surprisingly good for a story about cosplay and ecchi cosplay for the most part at that. There's a scene in this book here where one of the characters is breaking down and he's like in the room by himself, just looking up at the ceiling, talking about how useless he is and the situation that's going on. And I don't know about anybody else, but personally it was a little too relatable, and I was like, okay, easy there book, you're making me feel feelings and I'm just here to look at pretty cosplay. But I really appreciated the fact that there was also that emotional side of the story, and it looks like we'll just get that sprinkled in as we go along. And then it kind of just leads more into volumes 3 and 4, where you get the thing that sometimes I think books can really go wrong with, and it's with adding those extra characters. So there are so many books that are either going to be, and I don't know if this really is going to be this, but if there's going to be a harem element, if there's going to be, a love triangle element, if you establish some really likable and really good characters at the beginning, and those extra characters aren't even there yet, but then you bring them in later on, you best be damn sure that those characters don't detract from our two main leads, that they aren't annoying, that they feel like they don't belong. And I will say, very happily, that My Dress Up Darling, so far, has done that really, really well. The other characters it's added in so far is a sister pair of one who is a professional cosplayer and her sister. And so they add just a really nice element to the story. It brings a whole ton of body diversity to the story, which normally isn't something I'd ever bother mentioning. But as far as cosplay goes, it's really interesting. So it brings a lot to the cosplay story, as well as bringing in some characters that I care about. I care about their feelings, and I care about their relationship to our two main characters, and they just worked, and they worked really well, and for the most part, that rounds out everything that's happened in the book so far. So that's kind of the overview of the story, and as far as my thoughts on it, even though I kind of sprinkled them in there, here and there as we go, I love these books. Like I said, you've got a really good book when you get a volume and you go, well, that was really good, I'm going to read the next one right now. And you read it, and your instant thought is, damn, I really wish I had just bought those other two books that are out, like, instead of waiting. I'm like, now I've got to wait who knows how long, a week, before I can get my hands on those books. The second I got them, read them like that one night, and then the next I got the second book. Gojo, he's such a chilled character, and the story, I love manga that bring that different, unique flair. The cosplay flair is really interesting, but I think it's more impactful to me, just based on my own human experience, as far as being into, like, I think a lot of us watching this video have been there when there's something we really, really like and want to share or talk about with somebody else, but there's either no one around you to do that, or the people actively, poo-poo or like shame you for the things you're into. And that's just an awful feeling. And the books really do a great job of exploring that, and just kind of giving you that sense of, even though it's not you that's getting your, your passions validated, getting to see that happen for the characters in the books is like an extension of that. And it's just really enjoyable. And then I mean, gotta be totally honest. The art is fantastic, and not just the ecchi scenes. Although the ecchi scenes are, they're so good. They're so good. They're drawn really, really well. But just like the detail on the girls and the detail on the dresses, it all just comes together super really well. And I honestly can't recommend this enough. Like I said, there's a few reasons why maybe you wouldn't want to get it. If you have no interest in a story that has any ecchi in it whatsoever, if you're not interested, if you think you're not interested in cosplay at all, and have no interest in reading anything about it, then maybe you don't want this. Maybe if you're high school, I don't know, storied out, but I just think all of those things are so much lighter or different in these books that won't be a problem for you. So anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I know I am just like desperately waiting for more of these volumes to come out, so I can just get some more and keep going in the story, because the sky's kind of the limit for it after these 4 volumes. I just don't know where it's going from here. That's one thing I could say. There's no clear, like, okay, what happens now? There hasn't been like an arc introduced that will be overarching so far. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, thank you a whole bunch for watching, and I'll see you back on the prowl next time. Peace.